Hey guys, this is Yoda. As expected, I dropped the tier list yesterday, and Blizzard posted tuning like within 24 hours, so kind of what was expected. So we'll be doing a few revisions and going over the patch notes here. First change, Blood Decay damage increased by 6, Bone Shield armor increased by 10%. So as I understand it, this is a 3% EHP gain against physical, which is not really going to move the needle too much. The damage buff is definitely nice, but I think Blood Decay is still going to suffer from the same things it was suffering from before. Just to be a little bit stronger than before. Boomy gets a 5% buff overall. However, Balloons Chosen gets nerfed. So I think that maths out, someone said, to 2 to 2.5% in Mythic Plus, and a 5% buff in Raid. So it's a reasonable buff, but you know, not the shattering, like the meta shattering buff that people were hoping for or expecting, I guess, for Moonkin. Og, I believe this is not really a change because you don't play Scale Commander, from what I understand. Dev, Deep Breath increased by 20%. None of these are like that relevant in my opinion. Prez, who cares? BM Hunter buffed is actually crazy. I believe in the last tier list I may have underestimated Hunter after seeing some things, which I will show after, but BM Hunter getting buffed is crazy. This is BM Hunter is looking very, very strong right now. Mistweaver, I believe this is a good thing they were looking for, but I'm not sure they were actually playing Master of Harmony. Honestly, I haven't really seen that many people playing Mistweaver and Keys, so I don't really know enough to say anything real. Holy Priest, I don't know if this changes very much in Keys. We'll have to see if someone proves me wrong. Disc, unfortunately, people were hoping for a M plus buff attached to the raid buff, but they just get a raid buff and they compensated an M plus by tapping it down. So it's basically unchanged in M plus and buffed in raid. And for the hunter thing, so we are going to take a look at this tweet by Zero Cool. This is right after Kira timed their Kira group. Timed 19 hauls with BM Hunter. Also, after checking every priority mob and boss, he was topping on all of those as well. BM Hunter apparently has very strong funnel. With the no multi-shot build, you just spread your barb shots and it gives you infinite procs, which gives you more, uses of all your abilities. Do note that he is in a group with a prot warrior, so mage is not quite benefiting from that, but he did beat the mage on a lot of important mobs, and he's topping overall by a lot. And here's Kara saying it's Yargi diff and Hunter being good. Hunter is definitely very good, especially with the buffs. One other thing is that when you pick Hunter, you're picking BM and MM. It's not BM or MM, right? Like you can play either one depending on the key. Obviously, your stats change a bit. I think BM wants crit haste and MM wants like crit and then more crit and then mastery or something. But it is, I mean, they both want crit, so your stats are not going to be omega different. Maybe change a ring or two. But basically, if you're picking Hunter in your comp, you're picking like both, right? Like you get BM in Halls and you get MM in Gambit, for example, or MM in Dawnbreaker, etc. That makes it a pretty strong pick, in my opinion. Also of note, Rare is now the rank 2 tank in the world, playing double Demon Hunter with his VDH. Rare is a known VDH GOAT / VDH main. Not really that surprised to see him that high on the ladder, so in my opinion, it is worth moving VDH back up. So this is where I'm at right now. I did move Arcane out of S+. I think it was a bit exaggerated. Right now, every comp in the top 4 at least. By the way, 5 different tanks in the top 4 is crazy. Every comp in the top 4 is playing Frost Decay and Arcane Mage. Those are the only 2 that are shared. Like, he's playing Frost Decay, Arcane Mage Havoc, Frost Decay, Arcane Mage Hunter, Frost Decay, Arcane Mage Ellie, Frost Decay, Arcane Mage Warlock. Those are the only 2 specs that are repeated in all of the top 4 groups right now. So I think they both deserve to be in the S tier. Healers not really changed. Tanks, as we mentioned yesterday, these are the top 3 in my opinion, but Rare's performance in my opinion does warrant VDH being moved back up into the S tier. So 4 tanks being really relatively balanced is actually excellent on Blizzard's part. Really good work. As mentioned yesterday, we do move Disc Priest to A tier, mainly because of its reliance on Prot Paladin. I think if you play with Prot Paladin, it can perform with the rest of them. It's just that if you like select Resto Druid, right, for your season, as some people like to play that way. Apparently most people do like to play that way. They just pick a healer for the whole season. Like if you select Resto Druid, you can basically play with anyone. If you play with Resto Shaman, you can basically play with anyone, except like Omega High Keys, Prot Pally, and Resto Shaman don't really get along. But if you select Disc Priest, you can only play with Prot Pally, really. Maybe like Warrior in certain keys, or like it's key dependent, but really you really prefer to play with Prot Paladin as Disc Priest. That's why I leave it in the A tier. As far as the DPS goes, Hunter, I do consider this like a combined pick. Like you pick Hunter, you don't pick like BM, you don't pick MM, you pick Hunter in general, and then you pick the better one for the dungeon. But as that pick, I think it belongs with the other specs I have here in A tier. Personally, I am not a Destro Walk believer yet. I may be converted later. But yeah, I don't have Destro Warlock in A. Although I do have, basically I just have Destro Warlock with all the other classes. I could maybe add an A- tier. In fact, I think I'll do that. I'm gonna add an A- for the specs that I don't believe in. A-. For like the specs that are good, but I don't actually believe that they are the meta. Apparently Rogue is super bugged also. We can also put this and this in here too. This is actually, I'm glad I added this tier. We can also move Bear here. I mean, Squish is doing really good and his overalls are actually decent, so I'm gonna move Bear here too. The rest I'm gonna leave the same. Okay, we're adding A- because personally I think like after you have Frosty K and Arcane Mage in your quote-unquote meta comp, these are the best choices after that. And then these are like also okay choices, but people have decided not to play them sometimes, or they're like untested, unproven, whatever. So we'll see how it shakes out. The rest, in my opinion, has not really changed. The Boomy buff doesn't really warrant moving it up the tier list, in my opinion. It's too small. Rogue needs to get bug fixed. When it does, it will go like here or here. And if it does, I mean, Blizzard's been really lazy recently. Surf Hunter, I may have underestimated since I've never seen one playing it, but I did see someone play it recently, so I'm moving it to B tier from C tier. Honestly, not that big of a difference. And that is where we're at right now with the tier list. All right, anyway, that's a quick update. Thank you all for watching. Peace out.